At the absolute extreme edge of Prabhas Patan, on India's western coastline, the land abruptly drops off into the relentless pounding of the Arabian Sea. Looking out over this water is the Banstambh, or arrow pillar. This column marks a precise geographic boundary. An ancient Sanskrit inscription on the pillar states that from the tip where this arrow points, there is no physical landmass all the way to the South Pole. This geographical extremity is matched by deep mythological roots. The site sits at the Triveni Sangam, a sacred confluence of 3 rivers. According to legend, Soma, the moon god, bathed in these waters to cure a curse, and in gratitude, built the very first iteration of a temple here, entirely out of solid gold. Beyond the gold, early historical accounts describe a complex application of ancient engineering. An iron Jyotirlinga, a representation of the deity, was suspended in midair without any physical support. The builders achieved this levitation by embedding massive natural magnetic lodestones in the floor and ceiling to create perfect gravitational equilibrium. You have a temple situated at the edge of the known world, housing an idol that seemingly defied gravity, reportedly wrapped in immense wealth. That combination made Somnath an irresistible target for foreign invaders. In 1024 AD, Mahmud of Ghazni arrived with an invading army. They breached the temple, systematically removed the lodestones to break the magnetic equilibrium, shattered the fallen iron idol, and stripped the wealth from the walls. This timeline tracks what happened next, a brutal cycle spanning nearly a millennium. The data shows 17 distinct campaigns of destruction, marked by these massive downward spikes, led by conquerors like Khalji and Aurangzeb. Yet each plunge is met with an immediate upward spike. Every time the temple was razed, the local community rapidly rebuilt it. By the early 20th century, the repeated violence had finally exhausted the structural footprint. The rebuilding efforts flatlined. Somnath was reduced to a desolate field of weathered ruins. That flatline ended in November 1947. Weeks after India gained independence, Deputy Prime Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel walked through those ruins. Standing among the broken stones, Patel made a vow to the nation. The temple had to be physically resurrected. He argued that rebuilding Somnath was necessary to prove that the spirit of a civilization cannot be permanently erased by historical violence. The modern reconstruction adopted the ancient Maru-Gurjara style, a traditional Western Indian architectural discipline known for dense, intricate geometry and massive scale. To execute a design of this magnitude, the project leaders brought in the Sompura Salats. They are a hereditary clan of master masons who have preserved ancient Indian architectural sciences, passing the knowledge down through generations. Starting with the foundation, they prohibited iron and modern mortar, carving complex mortise and tenon interlocking joints directly into the sandstone. Held together by precise geometry, when lateral kinetic force, like an earthquake, hits, these joints allow the stones to subtly shift, absorbing the shock rather than snapping. By prioritizing flexibility over rigid mass, the Sompura Masons created a foundation intended to endure for centuries. The structure is built to survive the same environmental and historical shocks that brought down its predecessors, ensuring the temple remains standing through future tremors. Moving upward from that mortarless foundation, the space opens into the Sabha Mandap, the primary assembly hall, and then Ritya Mandap, the dance hall. Master craftsmen spent years retailing these spaces, carving 212 individual relief panels that depict ancient epics, and wrapping complex floral geometry around every pillar holding up the ceiling. The existence of these painstakingly carved halls is a direct nod to the locals of Prabhas Patan. During the centuries of destruction, when the site was little more than rubble, devotees continuously returned to this exact spot to worship. Deeper inside is the Garbhagriha, the innermost sanctum, where the ancient levitating iron idol was shattered a millennium ago. A smooth, unyielding granite Jyotirlinga is now firmly anchored into the stone floor. The outer halls of the temple always bore the brunt of historical violence, but the Garbhagriha represents an impenetrable spiritual core that invaders could never truly extinguish. Directly above the sanctum rises the Shikara, It is a massive, curvilinear spire that reaches 155 feet into the sky. The architects flanked the main tower with Shringas, miniature turrets that cluster around the base, giving the structure the distinct profile of a rising mountain peak. To cap the stone structure, the builders placed a massive amalaka, a heavy ribbed stone disc that crowns the top and locks the vertical lines of the spire in place. The decades-long reconstruction was finally completed when crews hoisted a 10-ton gold-plated kalash and secured it to the absolute peak of the amalaka. This golden finial serves as a divine, gleaming beacon. It is visible far out into the Arabian Sea, signaling Somnath's triumphant return to the skyline. In May 1951, the newly completed temple was officially consecrated by the first president of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. During the ceremony, Dr. Prasad described Somnath as the physical manifestation of India's civilizational permanence. Because this resurrection succeeded, the 17 horrific destructions of the past have been reduced to mere footnotes in the temple's vast history. History routinely proves that empires built entirely on destruction eventually turn to dust. But the human drive to create, to rebuild, and to maintain faith is eternal. The Somnath Temple stands complete and resolute today against the tides of the Arabian Sea. It stands as the final evidence that the power of reconstruction will always outlast the power of destruction.